What's up guys, JJ here, and today I'm going to be making a tutorial on everything to get started on film photography. I've been getting a lot of questions as to what type of camera to get, what type of film to use, and how to take good photos. So I'm going to be going over everything. I'll be putting timestamps in this video so you can skip to whichever part that interests you. So first off, let's get started with the camera body. In film photography, there's three types of camera bodies. There's the medium format, the SLR, and the point and shoot. For now, let's not talk about medium format as it's really expensive and I don't recommend it for beginners. So SLR, or the single lens reflex camera, is a bigger body, and I use the Nikon F801. I got this for about $50 and it takes amazing photos and I'm really happy with it. You can use an SLR if you're looking to get into film photography and you want to go into manual but don't really completely want to dive into manual yet. It has a manual feature and it also has an auto feature. Some SLRs only have manual, but you can tell when you see the camera whether it's going to be a manual or an auto. Next, there's the point and shoot. Point and shoots are small mobile cameras that you can just pick up, and as the name says, point and shoot. It's very, very simple. Everything's auto and you don't really have to worry about much when you're taking photos. That being said, it's pretty hard to progress in terms of photography and make it your own. A con with the point and shoot is that it doesn't have manual capabilities, so you can't really customize the photos that you take with the point and shoot. That being said, if you're just looking to go outside and take nice aesthetic photos with your film camera, I suggest the point and shoot. As for where you can buy these camera bodies, you can go on eBay, Mercari, or Facebook Marketplace if you want to get your camera online. And if you're looking to buy them in person, I would suggest you to go to a thrift shop or a film camera shop if your area has those. And you can probably get some good deals in some areas, as a lot of people don't really know what to value film cameras at, as it fluctuates quite a bit. Now let's talk about lens. Unlike digital, with film, camera bodies do not matter for the quality of the photos that you take. Lens are much more important, and the film you use is also much more important. So let's go over the lens that you can use. A lot of the times, the two things that matters for lens is the aperture and millimeter. I use a 50mm with an aperture that goes down to 1.2, so that means that I can take really good portraits, and I can also have the option to do landscape because it's 50mm and it's not too narrowed in. 35mm is a bit wider and it's a lot more usable for all types of photography, landscape, portrait. It really varies. And I suggest you not to get a cheap lens if it's going to be a zoom one, as zoom lenses, when they're cheap, just the quality is not good at all. And I suggest that if you're going to be paying less for a lens, you should get one that has 1mm and is good at that millimeter. There's a huge library of lenses depending on the camera that you want to use, and just make sure that the lens fits on your camera and uses the same mount. Otherwise, I think you're good to go. Next, let's talk about film. Film is the film rolls that you put into your film camera so that you can take photos. There's so many different film rolls with so many different looks, and I personally like using Portra and Kodak Color Plus. I suggest Kodak Color Plus for beginners as it's cheap, and therefore the photos you take don't have much risk, and the photos usually are very forgiving and turn out nice. Because the ISO is 200, I suggest you to use Kodak Color Plus during daylight. As for ISO, you usually see a number next to the film roll that you buy. It goes from 200, 400, 800, and there's even 50 out there, or 100. The lower the ISO is, the more I suggest it for daylight, because ISO is the sensitivity to light. And if it goes up to 800, you'll see the glow that comes out of the light. And that's why I like using 800 during night, as LEDs and other lights and neon lights all glow and it looks amazing. For something like 200 or 400, you can still take photos at night, but you're not going to get that glow that you see from 800 ISO film. So now you have your film rolls, your film camera, and your lens. It's been a long journey, but now you can finally take your photos. So all you got to do is load your camera with the film. Search up online with your specific camera how to load it, as it's different for a lot of cameras, and take about 37 or 36 photos depending on how you loaded it. Once that's done, you can get it ready to develop. Now, you can develop at home. I've never developed at home, so I can't really give you advice on that, but it definitely is cheaper. But for me, I started out probably a year or two ago on film photography, so I would go to a shop and get that developed there for my first couple of rolls, as I don't want to waste the rolls if I mess it up during the developing process. That being said, you should definitely try out developing if you want to save money in the long run. For developing, I go to film camera shops, chains. Usually there's like photo chains in Tokyo that develop for you as well, and in America I'm sure big chain stores develop for you, and I usually pay about $10 every time I want to develop photos. And one option that I've seen online is that a lot of people send out their film rolls in packages to places like Darkroom. I'm not really sure of the other names, but they develop it for you and then send the photos back. And usually when they send it back, you can ask for them to be digitized so that they can send it to your phone or your computer, and you can have those photos as digital photos. So we went over everything that you need to get for film photography, and now all you have to do is just have fun, take photos, and learn at your own pace. Thank you so much, and please let me know if there's any questions that you have in the comments below, and also follow my Instagram, TikTok, and like and subscribe this video, as I'm going to be posting a lot more in the future. See ya!